it's DJ Bass doing another Knowledge is Power video for you, and this little video has to do with the Crown XTI 4002 versus another amplifier for bass. Now, give you a little history here. I have the Crown XTI 4002. Actually, I got 3 of them, and then also the Crown iTech 4000. And I was looking to power a pair of subs. They are the MRX 528 dual 18 subwoofers, and they are rated at 1,000 watts continuous, 2,000 watts program, and 4,000 watts peak. Okay, so I was just looking for the right amplifier to do the job, and first I ended up getting a Crown XTI 4002. Now that amplifier, I will say, it sounded really good. There's quite a bit of power there, but I felt I was underdriving my speakers, and if you look into it, you'll see on all the forums they say the XTI 4000 series or 4002, 6000 series, they're not quite as good for bass as some other professional touring grade amplifiers. So again, I used them a little bit, and they did do the job, but in the search of the best bass I could get out of these speakers, the best performance, I went and found a used iTech 4000 with not very many hours, less than 600 hours on it, which is actually really good. And I went ahead and made a preset on that, and I could basically test them back and forth to see which one I liked more. Obviously you got more power with the iTech. It's 2,000 watts RMS per side versus 1,200 watts RMS per side. But that being said, that always doesn't matter a whole lot. But what matters a lot is the way it produces its sound and how it uses the power coming out of the wall. Now, with the iTech series, it is a totally different type of series, and we're talking an amplifier that was $6,000, new. They no longer make it. They have a different series out right now, but it's got DSP built in, just like the XTI series. But something I touched on in another video. There's a lot of features from the front panel, but some of the more basic features that you would want to use just for setting up your speakers, for instance, the bandpass filter. They call it a bandpass filter, basically the crossover section. That section is not really accessible for changing the EQ curves and kind of playing with that from the front panel on the iTech. So that being said, you have to use the software with the iTech 4000. Now, there's a lot more options in the software than with the XTI series amplifiers on the iTech. So a little bit less on the front panel for some of the features, but at the same time, there's actually more on the front panel for other features, more advanced features. So the iTech amplifier may be a little much for what a lot of people are needing, but at the same time, if you want really good bass reproduction, I'll just give you a comparison. It's night and day. I mean, when I heard the difference between the two, it's amazing the sound I'm getting out of this iTech amplifier. Tons of power. But on the other side of things, you got to remember, you got a touring grade amplifier. It's made to have its own, its own power source. So if you have it on a 20 amp breaker, that's probably all you want to run is that one amplifier on the breaker. You don't want to run, more than one. And with the with the Crown XTI series, you can run a couple of them on one breaker, and they do recommend one on each breaker. But I've run up to 3 on one breaker without blowing a 20 amp breaker. So you're probably not going to get your full, capacity out of that unit, your full sound. But that being said, you can do it. Now, another thing about the iTech series versus the XTI series, it's even in a used market, it's going to cost you quite a bit more, unless you go with an XTI, 6000 or 6002, those will cost maybe about the same or a little bit less. But otherwise, if you're going with a 4000 versus, or 4002 versus a 4000, it's going to be a lot more money for the iTech. But what this video is about, we're talking bass here, and for bass, those iTech amplifiers are awesome. I mean, they are way worth the money. You know, if you can squeeze out that much in your budget, it's totally worth the cash. You know, the difference I could hear and feel immediately was just tremendous. It was like a whole different subwoofer. The MRX 528 just came alive with that extra power and you know, a tighter bass, a harder hitting bass. Everything about it was better. So what you read in the forums about, you know, the iTech series versus, you know, a lot of the other series out there for like the Weekend Warrior, you know, entry-level amplifiers, it's true. You know, that amplifier really was made with some extreme quality in mind. And so that's my little video, my knowledge is power video on the XTI 4002 versus the iTech 4000 amplifier. Well, signing off, subscribe and enjoy.